मैं परवीन कौर सद्धू बहुत खुशी महसूस कर रही हाँ कि अज के समागम में मैं तुम्हारी होस्ट हाँ। अज का समागम बीबी गुरवीन कौर जी की कथा है जिहदे विच आपां जी संगत की अहमियत इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ संगत बारे विचार साझी करांगे। Before we proceed any further, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Sardar Gurveen Singh, General Secretary of Gurdwara Singh Sabha. May we kindly now rise and have Navjot Singh Matharu, a Gurman School student, to start this program off with Ardas.
Ardas एक ओंकार वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। श्री भगवती जी सहाय वार श्री भगवती जी की पातशाही दसवीं। प्रथम भगवती सिमर कै गुरु नानक नहीं ते आए, फिर अंगद गुरते अमरदास रामदासे कोई सहाय। अर्जन हर गोबिंद नो सिमरो श्री हर राय, श्री हर कृष्ण त्याई है जिस डिठे सब दुख जाए। तेग बहादुर सिमरिय करनौने ल्यावे ताए, सब थाए होए सहाय। दसां पातशाहियां दी जोत श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी दे पाठ दीदार दा ध्यान करके खालसा जी बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। पंजा प्यारियां चौहां साहिबजादियां 40 मुक्तियां हठियां जपियां तपियां, जिन्ना नाम जपिया वन के छकिया। देख चलाई देख वाही देख के अंधिठ किता, तिना प्यारियां सचारियां दी कमाई दा ध्यान करके बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। जिन्ना सिंगा सिंघनियां ने तरन हेत सीस दिते, बंद बंद कटवाए खोपड़ियां नुहाइयां, चरखियां ते चढ़े आरियां नाल चीरे गए। गुरुद्वारा दी सेवा लई कुर्बानियां कीतियां, तरम नहीं हारिया सिखी केसां स्वासा ना निभाई। तिना दी कमाई दा त्याग करके बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। पंजा तख्तां सरबत गुरुद्वारा दा त्याग करके बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। पृथ्वी सरबत खालसा जी की अरदास है जी। सरबत खालसा जी को वाहिगुरू वाहिगुरू वाहिगुरू। चित आवे चित आवन का सदका सर्व सुख होवे। जहाँ जहाँ खालसा जी साहेब तहाँ तहाँ रचा रियायत। देख देख फतेह बिरद की पैज पंथ की जीत, श्री साहेब जी सहाय। खालसा जी के बोल बाले बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। सिखां नूं बख्शो सिखी दान, केस दान रहत दान, विवेक दान विसाहा दान, परोसा दान दाना सिर दान, नाम दान श्री अमृतसर जी ते इशनान। चौंकियां चंडे बोंगे जुगो जुग अटल, तरम का जयकार बोलो जी वाहिगुरू। सिखां दा मन नीवा मत उच्ची, मत दा राखा आप वाहिगुरू। हे अकाल पुरख अपने पंथ दे सदा सहाय दातार जियो। श्री ननकाना साहेब ते होर गुरुद्वारियां गुरुधामा जिन्हां तो पंथ नूं विछोड़िया गया है, खुले दर्शन दीदार ते सेवा संभाल दा दान खालसा जी नूं बख्शो। हे निमानिया दे मान नितानिया दे तान, नियोटिया दी ओट सच्चे पिता वाहिगुरू जी। आप जी दे चरनां विच अरदास है जी। गुरमत सिखाण लई गुरमत स्कूल दे विद्यार्थी ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਹਨ। ਬੀਬੀ ਗੁਰਵੀਨ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਤ ਸੰਗਤ ਦੇ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਣੀ ਹੈ। ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਮਿਹਰ ਕਰਨੀ, ਸਮੂਹ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਮਿਹਰ ਭਰਿਆ ਹੱਥ ਰੱਖਣਾ। ਸਮਾਗਮ ਆਰੰਭ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ। ਆਖਰ ਵਾਦਾ ਕਾਟਾ ਭੁੱਲ ਚੁੱਕ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨੀ, ਸਰਬਤ ਦੇ ਕਾਰਜ ਰਾਸ ਕਰਨੇ। सही प्यारे मेल जिन्ना मिलिया तेरा नाम चित आवे, नानक नाम चढ़दी कला तेरे पाने सर्वदा भला। वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। बोले सो निहाल
Thank you, Navjot Singh. May Vaheguru bestow you with unwavering strength, and we look forward for your continued seva in the future. I now invite the students and the teachers of Gurmat School and the Gurbani Path Academy to first lead us with the Mool Mantra and thereafter lead us in the soulful recitation of Shabad Sadgur Nanak Gargatya and Sadgur Nanak Ayane in celebration of the 555th Prakash Utsav of Tan Tan Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. A heartfelt gratitude to the Gurmat School GPA students and Mrs. Devinder Kaur Karyal and the teachers for their outstanding performance and the dedication they've shown in their training. May we now please have Ms. Kirat Kaur Sagu, a Gurmat School student, to extend her warm welcome to our distinguished guests.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Guru Pyari Sant Sangat Ji, I, Kirat Kaur, on behalf of the chairman of Sri Gurudwara Railway South Sea, Sardar Gamdur Singh Panesar OGW, the chairman of Sikh Council of Africa and chairman of Sri Gurudwara Ram Garhia Railway Gurmat School, Sardar Jaswinder Singh Karyal, and the principal of Sri Gurudwara Ram Garhia Railway Gurmat School, Sardar Mohinder Kaur Sira, I'm pleased to welcome you all to today's event. In particular, we'd like to acknowledge the presence of Sardar Surinder Singh Sira, the president of the East Africa Ram Garhia Board, Sardar Kamaljeet Singh Sira, the general secretary of East Africa Ram Garhia Board, Mrs. Randawa, chairperson of Sikh Women's Society, the trustees of Sri Gurudwara Ram Garhia Railway South Sea, Dr. Swaran Singh Karyal and Sardar Kirpal Singh Chana, and the Sevadars. Today, we are truly blessed to have amongst us Bibi Gurveen Kaur Ji, who will share the wisdom of Sikhi throughout this Katha in English. Born and raised in Kenya, where she completed her primary and secondary schooling. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਈਕੋਲੋਜੀ ਦੀ ਡਿਗਰੀ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਕਾਰਡਿਫ ਤੋਂ ਕੀਤੀ. ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 6 ਮਹੀਨਾ ਦਾ ਕੋਰਸ ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਆਫ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ. ਬੇਸਿਕਸ ਆਫ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਇੱਕ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਵਿੱਚ YouTube, ਪ੍ਰਿੰਟਡ ਮਟੀਰੀਅਲ ਤੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਫੈਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ. Bibi Gurveen Kaur is not only a dedicated Sikh educator, but she also finds time for kickboxing as a hobby. She is truly a blessed soul, and it is only by divine intervention that one can sacrifice their path in life to pursue Gyan, wisdom, and knowledge of the Sikhi faith. We are very proud that Bibi Gurveen Kaur is one of us, born and raised in Kenya. She is daughter of Sardar Kamaljeet Singh Sira, who is General Secretary of the Governing Council of the East African Ram Garhia Board, and Sardar Manveet Kaur Sira, Potri of Sardar Jaswant Singh Sira, and Dotri Sardar Charan Singh Lotri, who was also the Vice Chairman at the time of Sardar Singh Panesar. I would request both parents to be upstanding. We welcome you and your wonderful family to this occasion. I request the Samvit to give them a round of applause. Before we proceed, I'd like to mention that while it is very important कि आप सारे पंजाबी सीखिए, समझिए, ते बोलिए, we also understand the need to bridge the gap, especially for our younger generation. That generation is now in an undesirable situation where they come to the Gurdwara and don't understand the Kathas and Kirtans. It is to bridge this gap that we have scholars like Bibi, Gurveen, Kaur, who are now becoming very popular all over the world with their approach in reuniting the youth and this group of people with their faith. Therefore, today's event will mainly be conducted in English to ensure that our children and even members of our parents' auxiliary can engage and understand the essence of Sikhi more deeply. ये ज़रूरी है कि बच्चे गुरुद्वारे आके सिक्ख्या सुनन, चाहे इंग्लिश विच ही क्यों ना होए, ना कि वो आना ही छल दें. Without further delay, I invite you all to listen with open hearts and minds to this special Katha by Bibi Gurveen Kaurji. Once again, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all present and for making this event very special. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Kirat Kaur, for the warm and gracious welcome. I would now like to invite Bibi Gurveen Kaur onto the stage to enlighten us with a vast knowledge on the importance of Sgrr. I would now like to request Mr. Devinder Kaur Kariya to present a bouquet to her.
एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भय निर्भर काल मूरत अजूनी सपंगुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जगाद सच है भी सच नाक होसी भी सच मूक उच्चरा शास्त्र खट पिंग गिरन चढ़ जाए अंदर खाबत रो सुना जो काल कृपा कराए अंदर खाबत रो सुना जो काल कृपा कराए वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. So Samji, I would love to start with the Fateh. The way I just said Fateh to everybody, I would start by explaining why we say Fateh and what it means. So when we as Guru De Sikh, when we see each other, we say Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We don't say Sasri Akal. Because Sat Sri Akal is what we say after we say Bole So Nihal. And it was used as a war cry. So if we're going to charge at someone out of in terms of war, then that's how we will greet each other. We'll say Sat Sri Akal. But as Gurudev Sikh, if we're just greeting each other or we're addressing an audience, we say Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And this is really important, especially to teach the youth, because it becomes a habit growing up. You're very used to saying Sat Sri Akal, but even that, we don't say it as Sat Sri Akal, which has meaning behind it. We often end up saying Sat Sri Akal, which doesn't really have a meaning. So the sooner we can correct it, the better. So that as we're growing up, it's just muh te chalya hunda ke fateh bulauni hai sareyan nu. So that was just my first baby. Now I'll explain what it means. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. So the way today they've given a very beautiful introduction about myself. If I was to introduce myself to you as a crowd, I would say, who do I work for? Vaheguru, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. I'm a part of the Khalsa, which is the forge of Vaheguru. Vaheguru being the Almighty, that one God. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. The second half, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm here because I know Fateh, Jitata Onandi Honia. When you say that, wherever you go, be it in a Sikh setting or a mixed one, and you introduce yourself in that manner, you're saying, this is who I work for God. I'm his army, I'm his Khalsa Forge, and I'm here because of his victory, his Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. That the victory will always be of God, regardless of the situation. It's not about me as an individual, it's about God. So I just thought it would be nice to start by giving an explanation of why we say Fateh and what it means. And now I'll move on to the Mangal that I just said. So what I just did was a Mangala Charan, and this is an invocation to God, through whose power I'm sat here today. What I did was say to Maharaj himself and to the Sangat that I'm not sitting here through my own power. Mooka Uchara Sastra Khatte, that the Shastras or even Gurbani, onande muh cho nikalda, that with the Guru's grace, Mooka Uchara Sastra Khatte, that even a person who's deaf and dumb, as we heard in Itihas, that Maharaj made a Gunga recite the Bhagavad Gita, that Mooka Uchara Sastra Khatte, Pinga Girana Chara Jai, that even someone who's crippled or disabled can then have that grace and mercy to be able to not only walk but climb a mountain. Pinga Girana Chara Jai, Andalakha, Badaro Suna. And someone who's andha, someone who can't see, with the grace of the Guru, they can begin to see. Badaro Suna, one who can't hear, can be gifted to hear as well. Andalakha Badaro Suna, Jo Kaal Kripa Karai. The final message and the main bit, Jo Kaal. If Akal Purakh Vaheguru, Kripa Karai. Je ona di Kripa hove, ona di nadar, ona di mehr. If God themselves, in the form of our Guru, has their grace upon us, all these things are possible. So why I started with that was to say, I'm not here to speak out of my own power. Personally, as an individual, I know nothing. I'm only sat here because my Guru has given me that taufi. So everything I say today will be backed up by good Bani and good Itihas. I'll not speak from my personal opinion. So today we'll be addressing the importance of Sangha. And before we can even answer that as a question, we have to ask, what is Sangha? Because I can't tell you the importance of something if we don't know what it is. So very briefly, Sangat just means a group of people. When we say Sangat, it's just a group of people. Like-minded or not, it's just a group of people. That's what Sangat is. Then we have Ko Sangat. When you add Ko in front of a word, it means bad. So when someone says ki aapko Sangat hai, they tell you that this Sangat, this group of people is bad for you. Bad for you because they're taking you away from your intuition, away from God, away from your consciousness. In Gurbani, we hear the mention of Satya Sangat
and Sadh Sangat. I've heard this question before where people ask what's the difference between Sat Sangat and Sadh Sangat. Sat is the truth. So as I said, Sangat is a group of people who are within that truth. In Gurbani, Maharaj कहते हैं कि सत संगत कैसी जानिया जिथे एको नाम बखानिया. They ask us the question, how do we know what Sat Sangat is? That true Sangat, how do we know what it is? Jitha eko naam vakhaniya, where there's mention of that one name. That name, very simply translated to English, we call it a name. But in reality, naam is much more than a name. It's the experience and the awareness of God. That one God, that Ekka Oankar, who resides within us and within all of creation. And then we have Sadh Sangat. Sadh Sangat is when we say Sadhuandi Sangat. It's a group of people who are holy saints. But then the question arises of how do we know who a saint is? Because anybody can just label them a saint and they can just dress a certain way and call themselves a Mahapurush. But a true saint, Sadh Sangat, is someone who listens, believes, and follows the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So if you see someone in their Rani, their Bani, their Gyani, in the way they live, Rani, Bani, in the way they sit amongst a crowd for themselves, and their Gyani, their speech, if it reflects through these three things, that the person listens, believes, and follows the teachings of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, which is basically Gurmat versus Manmat. When you know that their intellect is coming from the Guru and not themselves, that person is a sadhu. That's how we have Sadh Sangas. So these are two that are mentioned in Gurbani, and I added the third one, Kosangat, because that's something we also need to be aware about. Sometimes there's a group of people, it could just be our friends or our family, that are leading us astray, and in that moment, that's your Kosangat. They're not your Sadh Sangat. So those are the three types of Sangat. And just to reiterate that Sangat on its own is only a group of people. Now that we've said what Sangat is, we have the question of why. Why Sangat? What's the importance of Sangat? And what does Sangat even mean as a collective? So typically we refer to Sadh Sangat and Sadh Sangat. We speak about it in terms of coming to the Gurdwara side. Etthe Sangat Mildiya. We'll usually hear that this is the place to come if you want Sangat. And then someone might ask, why? Why the Guru Ka? Why do we have to come to the Gurdwara? These are very common questions and they're okay to ask. Now I'll just give you a little analogy of nature when we're referring to Sangat, that what's the importance of Sangat. The same way you have a beach, you have an ocean, you have those waves that repeatedly come to the shore, and as they reach the shore, they bang against a cliff. We have the cliffs that are made of rocks by the shore. As they bang against that cliff, it becomes sand. And Guru Sahib says that's what Sangat is for us. That's what coming to the Gurdwara does for us. That somebody who doesn't understand what's going on, they don't know Punjabi, they don't know why they're here, maybe we've just come for the prasad, but coming to the Gurdwara, having the darshan, using your eyes to see Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, just with that, it's as if the waves on the beach are crashing against that cliff and making it sand. The same way Maharaj breaks down our ego, our sense of self, and they bring us into their arms. They bring us on this path, even if we don't understand anything. That's the importance of coming to the Gurdwara. It's a common question, and the tattva, the essence, is that at the Gurdwara side, present is Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is the ultimate enlightener, the one who has all the gyan, the knowledge, that's going to help us discover who we really are. Because we might hear very often the pankti Man tu jot swarup hai, apna mool pachan, but we have to break it down even further. Ke man, hey my mind, tu jot swarup hai. you are that Jod Swaroop of Akal Purakh Waheguru. Apna mool pachan. Your mool is your root. Onu pachano, recognize that. But how do we do that? Through the grace of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. When you start reading Gurbani and we start doing part from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, we'll recognize that from the beginning up until the end, it talks about self-awareness, recognizing who you really are, how we're not this body, we're not this mind, we're not anything that keeps changing. And it's really beautiful how older Kathavachaks in Punjabi, they say, "Ke aapa kati kya ke main haath hai, ke main baan hai." We say, "This is my arm, this is my hand." You don't say, "That's who I am." You know this is just your body. So you are beyond this body. Your thoughts and your emotions are constantly changing. And if something is changing, how can it be your true self? So you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. Then who are you? Manvan, tu Jod Swaroop hai. Jod Swaroop. That Jod Swaroop is that light of God. The only thing keeping us alive, Chaitanya, is giving us this awakeness, this awareness to be able to move around and breathe and talk. That's who we really are. That's what resides within us. And as we read Gurbani, that's what we discover. So even if we can't read Gurbani and we don't understand Punjabi, just by coming to the Gurdwara, Maharaj will slowly break down those barriers, just like the wave breaks down that cliff into sand. And before you know it, we will become Guru De Sikh and we will have that awareness of who we truly are and what we're doing here on earth in this human form. So that was to address why Sangat. And then, as I said, we come to the Gurdwara Sahib, and present is Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. When we do Matha take, we put our Matha, our forehead, on the ground. On the ground, because that for us is the charan of Guru Sahib, the feet of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. When you put your head in someone's feet, you're putting the highest point of your body to the lowest point of someone else's body, which means you, as the individual, with an ego, you're surrendering yourself. You're saying, you're giving yourself to your Guru with your head in their feet. So Matha Tek is not a ritual. We don't just come here and put our head down and then go get prasad. When we do that physical act, bringing our body to surrender in that awkward position, we're reminding ourselves that ethe thodi mat nahi chalni. Guru di mati chandiya, bringing us back to Gurmat versus Manmat. When you put your head in the feet of the Guru, you're saying, I don't know anything, and my cleverness is not going to take me anywhere. If anything, it's Guru's mat who's going to take us somewhere. After we do Matha Tek, we do Parikrama. We walk all around Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and we come right back to the front. What we've done is, we've gone all around Guru Sahib to say, you are the center of my life. Everything I need, I ask from you. Everything I take from you. As you walk and do that parikrama, let's have the awareness that Guru Sahib is the center of our life. Guru Sahib, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj being that khajana of wisdom, a treasure of wisdom. As we go around, let's tell our mind, which is very chanchal, it's very fickle, it's always switching sides, it can never, stay steadfast. Let's remind our mind every time that we do Matha Tek and do a parikrama that we're going round because we want our Guru's mat, our Guru's wisdom on how to live in this world. We don't want our manamat. When we do Matha Tek for the second time, after doing a parikrama, we're leaving our mat in the feet of the Guru. Because the first time is understanding that we need the Guru's mat. When we go around, we're asking for it and accepting it. And when we finally do the last Matha Tek, we're giving Guru our mat. We're saying, take away my syanapa, my chaturanya, all my clevernesses, and just give me your mat, Gur mat. So that's on a physical sense of physically the importance of coming to the Gurdwara. Which brings me to live streams. Live streaming programs in the Gurdwara was for COVID times. Just like people were asked to work from home, that was during COVID. Once COVID finished, everyone was told to come back into the office. Guru Sahib is saying the same to us. It's really beneficial that we live stream because we can listen to it later on. People in different countries can listen to it. People who are physically not able to come to the Gurudwara benefit. But if we are physically able to come to the Gurudwara, let's do it. Because the benefit is we're coming to have darshan of our Guru. The content will remain the same online and in person, but the difference is online you can't see your Guru. You can't experience that love with your Guru. When you're in person and you physically do that matha tek, that parkarma, it makes all the difference because you're using your body to do that. And that's a form of seva as well. You're serving your Guru because you come to your Guru and surrendered to it. That was on a physical sense. On a mental sense, what does it mean to come to the Gurdwara? When we come here, we have to be present in the moment of where we are. Why are we here? These questions are perfectly fine, there's no problem. Let's disconnect, let's switch off, let's forget about the outside world. When you're here, it's you and your Guru. It's not your cousin who's doing matha tek, it's not anybody in the Sangat who's wearing a pretty suit. None of that matters. It's between you and your Guru. Disconnect from the world and connect physically to your Guru. And now it might be, I don't understand Punjabi. What do I do there? I just get bored because I don't understand anything. How about we change our mindset? We approach it from a different angle where we're saying, if I come to the Gurdwara once a week, every Sunday, if I come and listen to what the Gyaniji is saying, I will learn something. Because Gyaniji is going to use the same words every Sunday. There's going to be certain phrases that will become so familiar, you'll begin to understand what they're saying. Let's change it to be an opportunity to learn Punjabi. It was really impressive, the Gurmat school learning and speaking Punjabi. Let's take it a step further. When we come to the Gurdwara, let's understand what Gyaniji is saying. It's not an excuse that we don't know Punjabi. I was there as well. I didn't know Punjabi for a good 20 years, but still, I had to go to the Gurdwara whenever I was taken. If I had that mindset of I'm here to learn something, I would have been a lot further in my journey right now. So as children, or as anybody who doesn't understand Punjabi, when we come, let's have that approach that I'm here to learn, and you will, because certain words will be repeated. Apart from that, let's learn the Maryada of what happens in a Gurdwara. Maryada being the code of conduct. When we see Guru Sahib's Prakash, when we see their Sukhasan, how they take Maharaj from their Singhasan to their Sukhasan, when Maharaj is Prakash on their throne, on their takht, and they've got a Chaur Sahib waving over them, we have to physically come and see these things to understand them. Because we don't know, like, what is the Chaur Sahib? Why is Maharaj on a throne? If we come to the Gurdwara and we see all these things, that's where the questions will arise from. If we don't come, we won't have these questions. Without questions, we won't be inspired to go and learn, to go and find answers. So when we come and we see how they do Sukhasan in the evening, and they take Maharaj to their room from their throne, when we come and see it, we know how it works. We know how many bastar Maharaj is wrapped in. Is it 1, 2, 3? Every Guru Ghar you go to, it's different. But these are only things that we'll learn when we come and see it for ourselves. So even if we don't understand what's going on, we can still learn so much just by looking and just by listening. And then on top of that, in every Gurdwara these days, there's English translations on the screen. So not knowing Punjabi is not really the best excuse, because we can all read the English, and in that way we'll also learn. Because Gyaniji will read Anand Sahib every program. If we read the translations of Anand Sahib at every program, we'll begin to understand something, because we're listening to it and we're reading it in English. So slowly it will start making sense. And if it doesn't make complete sense, the questions will arise. We'll have those questions of what does it mean? But as I said, for as long as we don't have that exposure, these questions won't arise. And without those questions, we won't push forward on this journey into Sikhi. That was all on a very physical level. Now let's reflect on Gurvani and say, why does Maharaj encourage us to come into Sangat? Maharaj says, Sad Sangat Bina Pao Nahi Upajai. I'll break it down into half. So Maharaj says, without the Sangat, without coming to the Gurdwara and meeting those sadhus, being in that true Sangat, Pao Nahi Upajai. Pao means love, prem. Nahi Upajai. Upaja means to arise. Without coming to Sangat, that love for your Guru, for Sikhi, for self-awareness, getting to know who you are, it won't arise. To take it a step further, Maharaj says, Paag bina bhagat nahi hoi teri. Paag bina, without that love, bhagat, bhakti, meditation, that awareness, that spiritual awareness, the awakening we're looking for, we can't reach that without love. And without the Sangat, we can't get love. So first we've spoken about the practical, physical reasons why we need to come to the Gurdwara Sahib, why it's beneficial. And then we ask our Guru, what do they say? And they say, if we don't do this, we won't have love for them. And without that love, we won't be able to find ourselves, our true selves, without the Guru and without the Sangat. And then we might ask, how do we find this love? Or what is this love that you're speaking about? This love for the Guru, love for the Sangat, and love for your true self, who you truly are, that Jyot Sarup. We can even refer to it as your intuition, because that's always going to be with you. We might just say it off the top of our heads that Guru is Angasang. What does it mean that the Guru is always with you? Always 24/7. They never leave you. That's your intuition. The Guru in that sense, that light, is that intuition which is in your body. Your intuition is what stops you from doing the wrong thing. That little voice in your head that tells you, Ani karna, enu hath nahi launa, or let's do some part. That little voice that speaks to you is your Guru. And that's why we say that Sada Anga Sang, because they're always, forever, 24 hours a day. Even when you're sleeping, that voice exists within you. And that's how you know your Guru is present. So how do we find that love for that intuition, that little voice in our head? How do we learn to love it and follow it every time it tells us to do the right thing and stops us from doing the wrong? When we come into Guru Di Sangat, Sad Sangat, Sat Sangat, when we come to the Gurdwara, there's two things that are always present, Kirtan and Katha. At every program there'll be Kirtan and there'll be Katha. Kirtan, it's Rag. Rag is what evokes emotions. Kirtan is not just music. In Gurvani it says, Log jane eho geet hai, eho to Brahm bichar. Ke log jane, bandiyan nu aida lagda ki geet hai, that they're songs. Aam karke we'll come and we'll hear the tune and we'll say, oh, that was a nice tune. Maharaj says, eho to Brahm bichar. Brahma being that Brahma Sarup, that light within you, Vichar being that Vichar, that understanding of that light within you. That's what Kirtan is. And when it's sung in Rag, that Rag, it breaks you down the same way the wave breaks down that cliff. Rag is used to evoke certain emotions. You have certain Rags for certain times of the day, for certain occasions, because they all have a different emotion that they'll pluck within you. They're sung in different seasons. There's actually so much that goes behind Rag Kirtan. It's really beautiful and impressive. That's the importance and the use of Kirtan, to break us down emotionally so that we can detach from this world where we always have to be strong and we can never connect to our true self, to who we really are. Maharaj uses Rag. We have instruments used in Kirtan like the Dil Ruba. That literally means an instrument that robs your heart. It steals your heart. because it lets you connect to a higher supreme power. It takes you away from the superficial world where you're always, one thing after the other. Man bahut jam chal rehta hai. Your mind is very fickle. Your thoughts are constantly, one after the other, constantly overwhelmed with thoughts. Maharaj uses certain instruments and certain rags to help you disconnect from all of that and connect to your true self. Then we have Katha. Katha are Sakya, or our stories of our gurus, of our itihas, our history. We've all learned all the other history in school, but when we come to the Gurdwara, we learn about our very own history, where we have come from, the warriors that we are now born from. In Gurbani, there's a Pankti that says, Babaniya kahaniya put saput kareen. Ke babe diya kahaniya, our ancestors, our gurus, our Sikh itihas, their stories, their sakya, put, all of us as children, sanu saputtar banaunde. They make us saput. As I mentioned earlier, when you have su in front of a word, it means good, and when you have ku, it means bad. Just like kur sangat, they can also be a kuput, which is a bad child. So put, saput kareen. From normal children, these stories, these sakya, make us really good children, suput. Why? Because they inspire us. They remind us where we really come from. If our Guru Sahibs could fight those many wars, can we not fight what we're going through now? Anxiety, depression, sadness, all these challenges that we're facing, they are really big and it's really, really hard. But if we take that inspiration, that support from our Guru and say that you happily gave away 4 of your sons, if we listen to these stories and we actually connect with our Guru, we can overcome anything. That's the importance of Katha. And these 2 things are always present in the Gurdwara Sahib, Kirtan and Katha. And now I'll give you an analogy of both of them as to what they do. So if we compare it to a piece of metal, let's say a kirpan for instance, how is a kirpan made? It's a piece of metal which you have to heat first. So that heat is the kirtan because it melts you, the same way that heat melts the metal. And then you have that Katha which hits you because of the knowledge, the gyan, and that's what shapes you. The same way they hit the metal once it's hot in order to shape it into these various different kirtans that we see. The same way Maharaj uses Kirtan and Katha to bring us back to ourselves. I was going to say bring us back to this path, but all Maharaj is doing is connecting us back to our true selves, to our Jyot Sarup. So they use Kirtan to soften us, to melt us down. That's why sometimes we end up crying during the Kirtan. That's perfectly normal. It's just you connecting back to your true self. And then they use Katha in the form of knowledge, gyan, awareness, and Sakya, inspirational stories, to shape us into Gurmukhs, where Gurmukh, your face, your Mukh, is facing your Guru. It doesn't turn from your Guru. Whether that's on a physical sense, or even once we leave the Gurdwara Sahib, we always have it that I want to face my Guru. I only want to do what's in accordance of my Guru's mantra. So that was on Kirtan and Katha, and the importance of coming to the Gurdwara Sahib. But as I mentioned earlier, Sat Sangat Kaisi Janiya, Jitha Eko Naam Vakhaniya. In that Pankti, Guru Sahib has not mentioned Gurdwara or Guru Kar. They haven't said that it has to specifically be in a Gurdwara or a Dharamsal. They said Kaisi Janiya, Jitha, wherever, Eko Naam. That means it could be in our homes as well, in our schools. So then we'll say, what's our role as individuals to create that environment, whether it's the parents or the children? We need to create that environment of Sangat even in our homes. This can be as simple as telling your child a bedtime story about Sikhi, about our itihas. That is Sangat. You're connecting your child to their Guru in the form of a bedtime story, instead of reading the common British bedtime stories, the Western English bedtime stories that we do, let's read our Itihas to our children. Basics of Sikhi has a series called Sunna Sati. Those are literal bedtime stories. They're really short clippings of everything that happened in our history. And if we tell our child a new story every day, by the time they grow up, they're going to know so much of our Itihas. Let's do Path at home with each other. I remember that's how I grew up. My mom used to do Path for me when I used to go to bed. And my dad used to make me do Japji Sahib da Path in the car on the way to school. That was Sat Sangat. I just didn't have the awareness to recognize it. Jitha ekko naam vakhaniya, that naam was present then. Naam can also be in the form of Vaheguru Simran. If you sit down and you meditate on that Vaheguru mantra, that is Sangat. Between you and your Guru, if you're doing it alone, you and your parents, you and your siblings, your friends. As I said, Sangat is just a group of people. It depends what you're doing with those people. So that's how we bring Sikhi home as well. It's not limited to the Gurdwara. We can also have it at home by making these small differences. Let's speak Punjabi at home. The more Punjabi we speak, the easier it will be to understand Gurbani, because our Bani is written in Gurmukhi. Let's learn to read and write as well as speak. The more we speak, the easier we can connect to our Guru. So that's an effort that we can put as parents and children outside of the Gurdwara as well. Let's learn Kirtan, and it doesn't have to be limited to the Gurdwara. You can just be at home, sitting with your parents, and even if you don't have an instrument, you just want to sing. You're singing your Guru's words. All the children these days know all the lyrics of all the Punjabi songs, whether or not they understand it. Because they can grasp it, that means they have the ability to grasp the Kirtan as well. One Shabad a day, one Pangati a day. The Kirtan was so beautiful, so moving. If we can create something like that in our homes as well, we'd connect a lot faster. Let's learn how to play these beautiful instruments like the Dilruba, Taus, the Tabla, the Jori. Apart from the Vajja, the harmonium, let's also explore other instruments. That is also Sangat. You're doing Sangat of your instrument as well as your parents in your house. It's not limited to the Gurdwara. But again, not taking away the importance of coming to the Gurdwara. And now I just want to break the talk into the role of the parents and the role of the children. Because we have parents who want their children to come to the Gurdwara, but the children don't want to. Or we have children who want to come to the Gurdwara, want to come into Sikhi, but their parents are holding them back. And these two situations happen everywhere. It's just how do we combat them? If you as a parent want your child to come into Sikhi, let's create that environment at home as well as bring them to the Gurdwara Sahib without forcing them. Because forcing doesn't work. You can forcefully bring them, but they don't want to be there. If you motivate them and say you're going there to learn something, you explain to them why they're going there, where they're going, things to look out for. As I mentioned, Maharaj's Prakash, Sukhasan, things like this. It's just exciting for the child. And they'll be engaged. They'll be like, oh mom, what's that thing they're doing behind Guru Sahib? And then you can explain to them, it's a Jaw Sahib. Javar Shatar Takht de Malik. You can tell them who the Guru is. Jaw, Javar, Shatar, the Chundoa Sahib, Takht, the throne. It all starts when we bring them into Sangat. And as I said, we can also create that environment at home with the various examples. If it's the child who wants to come into Sikhi, then come to the Gurdwara Sahib. Convince your parents. Maybe educate your parents as well on the importance of coming to the Gurdwara. Why do I need to go there? And then, as a child, we need to have that interest. As I said, it can't be forced. That interest has to come from within. That I want to know who my Guru is. I want to know more about Sikhi. Have that interest come from within, and then put in that effort to actually do the research and find out more. And then educate your parents and convince them to bring you. Both ways it can't be forceful, but the more we tell them and when the parents can see our interest, then they will support us. So this was about coming into Sangat. Why do we need to come to the Gurdwara? And if there's anything that I left out, we're going to do a Q&A after. So if you need further clarifications of why we need to come into Sangat, I'm happy to take the questions. But now let's talk about children who want to come into Sikhi, who want to come to the Gurdwara, but their parents are the ones holding them back. So as I said, the first thing, as a child, the first thing that you can do is have that awareness, have that jar, that effort to learn, to want to know more. Because once you know more, you educate. As Basics of Sikhi, our logo, our motto is arm yourself with knowledge, not with arms. So as much as it's important to be Shastradhari, we also need to have the knowledge. As you have the knowledge, share it with your parents. As you educate them, they'll have no reason to say no. Sometimes they don't know because we didn't know as well. It's as simple as that. And then we have to bring in the concept of compromise. This is the most important thing, and that I can say from personal experience. I'll speak about my journey into Sikhi, but as a child who wants to come into Sikhi and your parents might be holding you back, you as the child have to understand that we're going to get nowhere without compromise. You have to compromise on certain things. If your parents have said that you can't take Amrit right now, maybe wait a little bit, you can take it a bit later. That doesn't mean that they're taking your Sikhi away from you. Nobody on this world can take your Sikhi away from you. It's your Sikhi, your Guru has given it to you, it's always going to be with you. Start keeping your red on a daily basis. Start keeping your red if that's something you want to do. Instead of blaming your parents and saying they're not letting me, start doing it. Start sambhaling your Amrit Vela. Wake up in the early hours of the morning and see how hard it is. Do your Panchmaniyan Nityanem. Do this on a daily basis until you yourself are convinced that, okay, now I'm ready to take Amrit. And now you have something to show your parents. That, look, I did it for a whole year. I woke up at this time every day. I read my Panchmaniya. I can do it. Start wearing your kakar, your kashera. You need to know how to move in and out of your kashera without it leaving your body. These are things you need to practice. Your kanga, how are you going to keep your kanga in your hair all the time? Once you take Amrit and then you keep your red, if you make mistakes in your red, you feel really bad, really guilty. But before you take Amrit, it's that preparation period where you're allowed to make mistakes. If your kashera leaves your body, it's okay. As an Amritari, it's not. You have to go for page. So these are things as a child, also consider that. If you feel like your parents are holding you back, instead of blaming them, focus on yourself, work on yourself, do your Gurbani Samthya, learn how to pronounce and read Gurbani so that you can actually read your Bani instead of listening to it. Nobody can stop you from reading Bani. Your parents are not going to say Bani now, but they're not going to do that. So take those baby steps, do your Samthya. As I said, wake up for Amrit Vela, keep your kakal, understand Maryada, understand what it really means to take Amrit, your code of conduct, the things you can and cannot do. It's really important to understand this before you take Amrit, because the worst thing that we can do as individuals is take Amrit and then break it, because we didn't know that we can't do certain things. Have that knowledge beforehand that these are things I can never, ever, ever do. Char bajal kureta, I can never do them ever in my life. And have that knowledge within you. Not that you take Amrit and a week, a month, a year later, I couldn't keep it. Or I didn't know any better. You have to prepare yourself beforehand. So instead of pointing fingers at your parents or whoever's stopping you, use the 3 fingers that are pointing back at you to check, are you really ready? Are you doing things to prove to your parents that you're ready? Prove to yourself that you're ready? And then obviously you have that conversation with your parents and you move forward with it. But first you focus on yourself, you see what you can do. And just to wrap up, I'll share my own personal experience as well. I wasn't always Amritdari. Mara just blessed me with Amrit 3 years ago. And I was in England, in Cardiff, when I got blessed with Amrit, and my parents were here. So another important thing, as I mentioned, compromise. You also have to understand your parents' perspective. They need time to adjust to it as well. It's something new, it's something foreign. They've known that little girl all her life, and now she's grown up and she's just jumped into this new path. It takes a while for your parents to adjust and accept that, and that's okay. But we have to understand that as an individual. Nobody can take your Sikhi away from you. As painful as it is in that moment when someone's stopping you, but they can't take it away. So as I mentioned, I was in Cardiff, and I got blessed with Amrit within 4 months. I just started learning about Sikhi through basics of Sikhi. I listened to English Prachar for the first time in my life, and I was mind blown because I had no clue what Sikhi was about. Even though I used to come to the Gurdwara, I didn't have the right mindset. I wasn't here to learn. So the first time I heard something in English, it blew my mind. And from that day till the day I took Amrit, it took me 4 months, which is not a long time at all. I didn't factor into consideration that I live in a different country, my parents are so far away from me, I'm making such a big decision, it's going to be a shock to them. Can I do it on my own? I remember that was my mom's question, can you keep your dad? And then within those 4 months, I made it a point of doing my Amrit Villa every morning. I personally didn't get my kakar in advance because everything happens so fast, but I would recommend it. Get your kakar beforehand, read your Vani beforehand, because pehla cha hunda hai ke Amrit chakna hai. You have that cha, that excitement that you want to take Amrit. Once you've taken Amrit, how are you going to sambhal your Amrit Villa? It gets really, really hard because you know you have to do it for every day of your life. It gets super hard to wake up and read the same Banjabaniya every day. These are things you have to prepare yourself for beforehand. But back to my story, within 4 months, I took Amrit. It was a shock to everyone, myself included, so it did take some time for the family to accept and adjust. And it was a change for me as well, with my lifestyle. I was studying at university. Next thing I told my dad, I don't want to do my degree anymore. I want to drop out of uni. Compromise. The compromise was that you complete your degree and you take Amrit as well. I didn't fulfill my promise because I did not end up completing my degree, but I did put in that effort to complete it. I did try once more to complete it, but it didn't work out, and I then ended up pursuing a career in Sikh studies, and now I work as a full-time pracharak. But as I said, give your parents time to adjust as well, and think about yourself. Think about your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan, that okay, if I take Amrit in the next year, what comes next? What am I going to do? Am I going to forget about the world? Am I not going to get an education? What's my job? What am I going to do after that? These are really important questions. But as I said, pehla cha hunda, we don't think about anything. Myself is where I'm speaking from. I didn't think about anything. I didn't think about keeping my dad. Within 4 months, I took Amrit. 4 months is no time at all. But yeah, Guru Kirpa, I took Amrit within 4 months. It's been 3 years. From there, I then moved on to complete my degree. So I did 1 more year of my degree before I dropped out, and then did a 6-month course in Sikh studies under basics of Sikhi, after which Maharaj Kirpa was fortunate enough for basics of Sikhi to offer me a job. And since they gave me this beautiful gift of Sikhi, there was no way I could decline that job. And that's how I ended up here today. So thank you very much for listening to me. Please forgive all my mistakes, and if there's any questions, we'll take them now. Lekha Katha chutiya, khena khena poolanhar, baksanar baksala, nanak pare utare. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
Bole so nihal.
such an insightful and inspiring keynote address. Your reflections on the importance of Sangat, the power of community, and the impact of shared values have deeply resonated with all of us. You've reminded us of how vital it is to surround ourselves with individuals who uplift, support, and guide us on our spiritual journeys. Your words have reignited our commitment to fostering strong and meaningful connections within our community, and we are truly grateful for your wisdom and passion. Before we proceed, we would also like to acknowledge the presence of Sonia Kaur, Sardar Surinder Singh Sira, President of East African Ramgarhia Board, Sardar Kamaljeet Singh Sira, the General Secretary of East African Ramgarhia Board, Sardar Sukhwinder Kaur Randhawa, Sikh Women Society Chairperson, Sardar Himmat Singh Gahir, Chairman of Sardar Himmat Singh Gahir, Chairman of Ramgarhia Youth Association, Sardar Balwinder Singh Saggu from Nanak Satsang Sabha, Sardar Gurcharan Singh Matharu, Joint Secretary, East African Ramgarhia Board. Now we will move on. We will open the floor for a question and answer session. This is your opportunity to engage with Bibi Gurveen Kaurji and seek further insights on the topics she has covered. Gurman School students will be circulating microphones to assist you. I would like to call a panel up on stage. Mr. Jaswinder Singh Karyal, Mrs. Sira, Gyani Noor Singh Ji, Mrs. Ranjit Kaur Khalsa, and Mr. Gundur Singh Panesar. We would like Ms. Bibi Gurveen Kaur to join us as well. And just Kiran Kaur Matharu to join the panel as well. Thank you. We can start with the questions.
Okay, so my question is, how can you balance your school life with your Sikhi life after taking Amrit?
That's a really good question. So as I said, we start by keeping our Raat. Our Raat consists of our Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela is before you go to school. Then your Rara Sahib is once you come back from school. Then your Kirtan Swela is before you go to bed. So in that sense, there's no interference between your Sikhi and your school life, because you do your Panjabaniya before you go to school. Then you work hard at school because that's going to contribute to your Kirtan Kamai. And then you come back, do your homework, do your Rara Sahib, and then at night do your Kirtan Swela. So it gives you ample time, because Maharaj knew that this is the life that we live of Grest Jeevan. We have to live within this world. So they were very lenient on us. They've only given us Panjabaniya in the morning, Rara Sahib in the evening, Kirtan Swela at night. Those are mandatory
Everything that we do apart from that is as and whenever we have the free time. But these Saptabaniya we can manage on a daily basis before we go to school. It doesn't have to be too early if we can't sambal our Amrit Vela, but as long as we do it before we've gone to school. And then Rara Sahib and Kirtan Swella. In terms of keeping your kakar, that doesn't interfere with your school life at all. Your kakar, you can wear it under your clothes so nobody can see it, nobody knows about it, or your other kakar remain on your body as well. And those are the main things. You refrain from your bhajan kurata, which you shouldn't be doing anyways, so that's separate from your school life. And the main thing is your part. You have your rat, which is Rayat Pyari Mujhko Sikh Pyara Nahin. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said those words that to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, Rayat Pyariya. It's not us as the individual because we don't exist, we're just an identity. They say Rayat Pyari Mujhko. Your Rayat is what's Pyari to your Guru, which consists of your Vanya and your Prakar.
Thank you, Bibi, Gurveen ji. Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh. First of all, on behalf of the Chairman and Smooth Saath Sangat ਵੱਲੋਂ Gurveen Kaur ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ. That was a truly very intriguing which he has given. It's answered most of the concerns which our parents at the Gurmat school have been having about their children coming to the Gurdwara. And also, I'm sure she's answered many of the concerns of the students. So, going back to Sahib's question, I would like to add that once you've taken Amrit, like she said in her opening remarks, you're Vaheguru's Khalsa. And once you're Vaheguru's Khalsa, you're part of his army. You don't need to worry about how school is going to work. Yes, you have to study. But that discipline which you have when you take Amrit is going to be the same discipline which is going to help you in achieving your objectives, not only at school, but in your career and in your family. Thank you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, to all respected leaders or Bibi Gurveen Ji. It's very impressive to see what I have witnessed today. I think it's जरूरी है कहना क्योंकि सारे केइयां दे विच जिहड़ी संगत रहिंदी आ ਉਹ ਕਾਫੀ traveled ਆ. And I think it is quite not wrong to say कि केइयां दी संगत दे या जिहड़ी गुरुद्वारे आ ਉਹ बहुत ज़्यादा opportunities provide करते आ साडे youngsters वास्ते, साडे old age वास्ते ते सारे अपनी संगत वास्ते ताकि वो आ सकन और गुरुद्वारे के प्रोग्रामां दे विच हिस्सा ले सकन. एक दिन दे विच तुसीं देखो कदी कदी 3 या 4 प्रोग्राम होंदे आ, मतलब any opportunities होंदियां आ. पर ਉਹਦੇ बावजूद I'm just getting to this question now, right now. ਉਹਦੇ बावजूद ਇਹ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੈਪਰੇਟਲੀ ਐਜ਼ ਸਾਈਲੋਸ ਆਪਰੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਇਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਇਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਸਮਥਿੰਗ ਦੈਟ ਹੈਜ਼ ਬੀਨ ਰਿਸਰਚਡ ਐਂਡ ਲੁਕਡ ਇਨ ਐਜ਼ challenges of communities post COVID. So ਮੇਰਾ question ਪੈਨਲ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਹ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਓਕੇ ਐਂਡ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀਆਂ ਉੱਪਰ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ they have gone through a lot of trauma, you would call it, and I call it generational trauma. मेरी रिसर्च कुछ महीनों तो ये आ कि आ जो generational trauma आ साडी कम्युनिटी आ generational trauma कितना घटा सकती है क्योंकि ਇਹਦਾ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ take care नहीं कर सकते, then they get into the vices of the communities. I do realize that it is through Sangat that it can be taken care of. But how can you explain it to our Sangat कि जे असी अपने आप को मजबूत करना चाहते हैं कि what we should do on a realistic level with one of your experiences that you may have seen being practiced by any of institutions or Gurdwara. ਤੇ ਲਾਸਟਲੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਸਟੈਪ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ ਬਲੇਸਿੰਗਸ ਵੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਇਹ ਸਮਝਦੀ ਆ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਪ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਰਗੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੌਮ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਰੋਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਚੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਵੇ ਔਰ ਸੰਗਤ ਵੀ ਮਿਲੇ जी मैं कुछ माना क्या थे प्लीज फॉरगिव मी वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। और जरा सोनिया बेटी उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा सानू मेन जो चीज़ है कि असी अलग अलग पासे तुरे हुए हैं जिस तरह बीबी गुरवीन उन्होंने कहा सी संगत कैसी जानी है जिते एक और नाम रखनी गल एक तो मुकदी है साढ़े च एक होएगा बस एक ते विश्वास करांगे एक दी जिहड़ी साडी मर्यादा है जो उन्होंने सानू सिखाया उस पर चलेंगे तो सारे असी इकट्ठे होकर अपनी जो अपना धर्म है जो अपनी कौम है उसको आगे ले जा सकते हैं।
Honorable Sonia Bildi, thank you for that question, and I would like to add to what the chairman is saying. एकता ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, boardrooms ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਹਰੇਕ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ 'ਚ there's differences of opinion, but the underlying problems we have all start with the ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ vices ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਚੌਮੇ ਹੈਗੀ, ਅਹੰਕਾਰ ਹੈਗੀ, these are our enemies. So when it comes to a community level, we all wonder कि we need to get together and साडा एक कोई objective होना चाहिए. But like you rightly pointed out, अपने सारे गुरुद्वारों च I think there is a big program now in place जिथे बच्चों ਨੂੰ गुरु घर ਨਾਲ जोड़िया जा रहा है, schools खुल गए हैं, and you are a member of the Sikh Council of Africa, and one of our objectives and programs now coming up is that we are spreading the syllabus for the Gurmat school at South Sea throughout Africa. The syllabus will be spread, the ethos and the objectives, and we'll be giving online support also. And the issue about organizations having different goals, apni history adi rahi hai. I don't know if those of you who attended the Maharaja Jassa Singh Ramgarhia conference, ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੇਪਰਸ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ 10ਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਰਾਜ ਮਿਲਿਆ, ਆਪਣੀ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਮਿਸਲਾਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ, ਦੇ ਹੈਡ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਉਂਡਸ, ਆਪਸ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਲੜਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਸ ਸੀ, ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਪੱਕੇ ਸੀਗੇ. ਦੇ ਫੋਲੋਡ ਦ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ, ਦੇ ਫੋਲੋਡ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੀਸੈਪਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਲੇ ਡਾਊਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ, ਐਂਡ ਐਂਡ 'ਚ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸੀ. ਸੋ ਸਿਮਿਲਰਲੀ all the Gurdwaras organizations have their strengths and weaknesses. We should learn, as South Sea Gurdwara from East Africa Ramgarhia Board, we should learn from RYA, and there's certain things we might be doing right, they can learn from us. So we should take it as a learning experience, build on each other's strengths, and have more forums with each other where we can discuss and adopt ideas. Thank you.
So just to add on that, I'll just bring it back to nature. When we speak of ekta, we usually have this misconception where we feel like everybody should be the same. That's not what ekta means. Ekta is like a garden. you have one garden, one bagita, but in that garden you have a million types of different flowers, different colors, different shapes, different names. All of these different flowers contribute to the beauty of that garden. The same way, all our different strengths will contribute to the beauty of the Khalsa Panth. Whether that's Gatka, Kirtan, wherever the strengths are, all these differences is what makes us beautiful. Ekta doesn't mean uniformity. It means coming together with everything that we know we can provide and putting it within the same garden.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੈਂ ਕੇਵਲ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਾਂ ਵੀ ਕੌਮਾਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕੌਮਾਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਕੱਠੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ। ਮੈਂ ਦੋ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲਾਂ ਦੇਵਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਔਰੰਜ ਹੈ। ਔਰੰਜ ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੀ, ਰਾਊਂਡ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇੱਕ ਦਿਸਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ। ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਛਿੱਲਿਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਛਿੱਲ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਲਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਉਹ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਫਾੜੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ। ਸਾਡੀ ਕੌਮ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੋਂ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਹੋਈ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਔਰੰਜ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਹੇ, ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਬੜਾ ਕੁਛ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨਾਂ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਦਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ, ਬਾਬਾ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਾਬਾ ਪ੍ਰਿਥੀ ਚੰਦ ਨੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਵਿਰੋਧਤਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਉਤੋਂ ਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੋਨੇ ਭਰਾ ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਔਰੰਜ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੋ, ਪਰ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਔਰੰਜ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਦੂਸਰੀ ਉਦਾਹਰਣ ਮੈਂ ਦੇਵਾਂ। ਸਿੱਖ ਮਿਸਲਾਂ ਆਈਆਂ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੜਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਜਦ ਕਿ ਮਿਸਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਮਿਸਲਾਂ, 12 ਮਿਸਲਾਂ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਹੋਈਆਂ। ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਰਾਜ, ਆਪਣੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ, ਆਪਣੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਕੀਤੀ, ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਰਾਜ ਭਾਗ ਕਾਇਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਪਰ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਵਾਟਰਮੈਲਨ, ਖਰਬੂਜਾ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਟਰਮੈਲਨ ਇੱਕ ਖਰਬੂਜਾ। ਉਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਧਾਰੀਆਂ ਬਣੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਫਾੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੀ। ਜਦੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਮਿਸਲ ਆਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਕੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਆਹ ਫਲਾਨੀ ਮਿਸਲ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਕੌਮੀ ਕੰਮ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜੱਸਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਰਾਮਗੜੀਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਿਲੇ ਸ਼ਿਕਵੇ ਭੁਲਾ ਕੇ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਉਹ ਵੱਖਰੀਆਂ ਵੱਖਰੀਆਂ ਫਾੜੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੌਮੀ ਸੰਦੇਸ਼ ਆਇਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕੌਮੀ ਕੰਮ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਬਸ ਆਹ ਦੋ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਿਓ। ਕੌਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਦੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ, ਵਰਲਡ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਕੌਮ ਦਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਕੌਮ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ, ਕਦੀ ਇਕੱਠੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੀ ਹਾਂ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ। ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਜੋਗੀਆਂ ਦੇ 14 ਪੰਥ ਸੀ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਫਿਰਕੇ ਸਨ। ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਵਰਲਡ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਕੌਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਸਟੇਜ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੌਮੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਹ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਰਾਮਗੜੀਆ ਹੋਵੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਭਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਨਾਨਕਸਰ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਿੱਦਣ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਵੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਈਏ। ਬੇਸ਼ੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਹੁਣ ਹਰ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹਰ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ। ਕੋਈ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ, ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ, ਕਿਤੇ ਡੋਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਫੂਡ ਦੀ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੌਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ। ਬਹੁਤੀ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣ ਦੀ ਇਹਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਬਾਕੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਦਾ ਅੰਗ ਸੰਗੇ ਹੈ। ਜਿੱਦਣ ਤੱਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਗ ਸੰਗ ਹੈ, ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਅਬਦਾਲੀ ਵਰਗੇ ਆਏ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਮੋ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨ ਮਿਟਾ ਦੇਣਾ, ਔਰ ਮਿਟਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਯਤਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ 40,000 ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਗਿਆ। 40,000 ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, 1 ਡੇ 40,000 ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ, ਪਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਗ ਸੰਗ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
If anybody else has a question, the floor is open.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My question is, what is it that Sikh institutions, no matter whether it's a Gurdwara or an organization, but basically Gurdwaras, what is it that they can do within Katha Vichar that can draw, not necessarily drawing is one thing, to see apne bhavnan aune hai Gurdware, but what is it that we can do as Sikh institutions in terms of Gurdwaras to make Sikh wisdom from the Gurbani more digestible, especially for the younger children, because ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ young ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ mom dad ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੈਠ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ. Today it's a little bit different if you've noticed, no offense to anybody, but the attention span is not as much. And the will to be there is okay, but how is it that we can make it a little bit easier, or in different ways, not necessarily in the darbar only, but how is it that we can make it a little bit easier for our generations to understand Sikhi, Gurbani, and get that Gurmat at the different levels of their development?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I think I'll try my best to answer that question as I'm still in my learning stage. But in order to inculcate Gurbani into your everyday lives, I think it always begins at home, as I think Gurveen mentioned earlier. Saying even the Sakhi at home, like when I was young, my mom would tell me a Sakhi every day at night, which made me naturally to become help me to get a curious mind when I come to the Gurdwara. I would listen to the Katha. So as a child, I got to know that acha apa Gurbani sunniya, asi Katha sunniya, fi Kirtan sunnaya, and then gradually you get to know that acha Kirtan sun raya, but what does it mean? What is the message that Babaji is trying to get across? So at these different stages of, in order to get to the different stages of Gurbani, I think it's also necessary that it comes from home. Like, I don't want to be offensive, but ajkal the bache, mostly they have phones in their hands. In the darbar, they're sitting with a phone in their hand, watching a cartoon, and Gyaniji is doing Katha. So naturally, they're more inclined to watching that cartoon in their phone. So je bachpan to yana nu kya chanda hai ki acha you have to sit in the darbar and listen to what Gyaniji says. It will help them understand that this is part of my culture, this is what Guruji is trying to instruct me to what I'm supposed to do in this life. So I hope I try to answer that question.
ਬੱਚੇ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਾਂ ਹੀ ਜੋ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਹੇਗੀ ਨਾ ਉਹੀ ਬੱਚਾ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਜੇ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਆ ਉਹ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਹੋਊਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਊਗੇ, ਬੱਚਾ ਉਸ ਸਾਈਡ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਊਗਾ. ਇਹ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਮਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. ਪਹਿਲੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਮਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. ਜਿੱਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਓਗੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗੂਗੇ. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਪਾਠ ਕਰੋ ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਰਬਾਰ 'ਚ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਸਿਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਨਾ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਦਿਓ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਬਾਈਲ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਾਰਟੂਨ ਦੇਖੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਬਸ ਬੱਚੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹਿਣ. ਨਹੀਂ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ. ਜੇ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਜੀ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨਾ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ. ਜੇ ਸੁਣਾਂਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ. ਇਸ ਲਈ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਗਾਈਡ ਕਰਨ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਗੁਰਮਤਿ ਸਕੂਲ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੇਜੋ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਬੱਚੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਗੁਰਮਤਿ ਦੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਲੈਣ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਹੀ ਕੁਝ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ।
Just to add to what Mrs. Khalsa and Ms. Kiran have said, ours has been a journey. I can only talk about what we have experienced at South Sea Gurdwara here. When I joined the institute in 2013, I was very green. I didn't know where we were headed. But the idea of a Gurmat school was there, and the vision was to bring the children to Gurdwara first, the way Bibi Gurveen has said. पहला स्टेप है उन्होंने गुरुद्वारे में समझ आती कि नहीं आती. Once they come to Gurdwara, once they are taught कि गुरु महाराज अपने ही ये साढ़े शहनशाह आ, दरबार गल्लां नहीं करनियां, छोटे छोटे बच्चों को समझाना पैंदा. साढ़े को 3 साल के बच्चे आ, 16 साल दे, there is a wide range of students we have in Gurmat school. So our journey, I must say, has been amazing. Why? Because I still remember the late Mrs. Khalsa. We had Khosla, sorry. ਜਦੋਂ मैं join ਕੀਤਾ ਮੇਰੇ senior ਸੀਗੇ, ਇੱਥੇ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ sporadic ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਲਾਸਾਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ. So ਰਾਜੂ ਪਾਜੀ as we call him, he said ਆਪਾਂ unity ਦੀ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ, ਆਪਾਂ unite ਕਰਨਾ, ਇੱਕ ਸਕੂਲ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ, ਇੱਕ vision ਕੀ ਆ ਪਾਜੀ? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਲਿਆਈਏ, ਇਹ ਪਾਠ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਣ. ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल पढ़ाती सी, साढ़े घर भी इंग्लिश असी बहुत बोलते हैं. मेरी मम्मी ने खुद कहना इंग्लिश ना मारो, पंजाबी बोलो. वी वुड ट्राई, बट स्कूलों आना वही चढ़ी होंगी सी. हुण भी मैं स्कूल काम करती हाँ तो मैं ज़्यादा इंग्लिश ही बोलती हाँ. सो द संगत हियर वाज वंडरिंग हू इज़ दिस लेडी हू इज़ टॉकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ इंग्लिश. असी JS नागरा दी बुक्स मंगाइया, इंग्लिश विच सी, इंग्लिश एंड पंजाबी. Criticism was there कि अंग्रेजी दे कहते आए हैं. Seriously people, if kids love English का इस्तेमाल करके क्यों ना उन्हें गुरमुखी पढ़ाइए. That was what we decided. So from a small group of 44 children, we've gone up to over 200 kids. So I can only talk about this one experience. ते एकता दी गल आपां करदे हां, जे आप अपने स्कूल दे विच, अपने घरां विच एकता नहीं लिया सकते, we have to start there. And the strength that she's talking about, I agree, I'm so inspired. जे आप बाबा जी तो स्ट्रेंथ लईए तो सारे काम पूरे हो जाते. उन्होंने मैनू की कहा सी मिसिस खोसला ने, कहते अरदास ना शुरू करो. We took the advice, she's our senior, go home. So every Gurmat school session, every Saturday from 2 to 6, we begin with Ardas, Babaji's Bachan, and the kids cannot speak in the darbar. They are told, Babaji Hazar Nazaran, Kapni Poni, छोटे तो छोटे बच्चे को सी ट्रेन करते, ऐसा नहीं बजना, उधर नहीं बजना. Discipline is so important. Even the part, the nickname she's talking about, I agree. If you don't bring that into your lives and become disciplined, बाकी दी पढ़ाई किस काम दी थोड़े आन करंट ही आए दुनिया पे. I've taken it very far, but yes, this Gurdwara has come a long way. And in the morning, I was very amazed. Sonia ji, ऐसा लगता सी असी सिख सभा बैठे सी ते सिख वुमेन सोसाइटी का कीर्तन दरबार चल रहा सी. सब तो पता ही नहीं लगा किहड़े बच्चे कित्थों आए हैं, बिकॉज सिलेबस इक्को ही सीगा, कीर्तन करना है. चढ़ते तो चढ़ता कीर्तन हो रहा सी. असी तो सारे बच्चों ने एम्ब्रेस किया कि बहुत नाइस सीगा. सो जे आप अपनी ईगो एक पासे कर दिए ना, तो आप प्यार करिए. प्यार बहुत महंगा हो गया दुनिया च, बहुत घट आ. असी दिखावे च फसे हुए हैं, असी ईगो लियाने तो ही साढ़े डिफरेंसिस हैं. जे आप अपने होना साडा घर आ, जिथे असी हुण बच्चे ग्रो हो रहे हैं, दे आर बीइंग नर्चर्ड एंड इट्स अमेजिंग द जर्नी. जिन्हें जेडे बच्चे अंग्रेजी बोलते सी, वो पंजाबी बोलते हैं, वो कहते भी हुण असी सर्टन लैवल तक असी यूज़ करते, हुण असी नहीं यूज़ करते. देयर इज अ ग्रुप वी हैव, सीनियर स्टूडेंट्स ग्रुप कॉल्ड गुरबाणी पाठ अकेडमी. वो उत्थे सिर्फ पंजाबी, ओनली पंजाबी, एंड द चिल्ड्रन डू गुरु महाराज पाठ. दे टेक हुक्मनामा, दे डू अरदास. आ सारा देखते देखते बच्चे बड़े होंदे होंदे होया जिदा गुरवीन रियली इट राइट. पहला गुरद्वारे तो लियाओ, उन्होंने सिखाओ, हौली हौली सुनते सुनते आदत करनी कि आ साडी कल्चर है, असीं इत्थे आना है, इत्थों सारा कुछ मिलना है. So I think I've said a bit too much. I get carried away when I talk about Gurmukh school. And all the Gurmukh schools are doing very well. छोटे छोटे बच्चे नानक सर दे मैं देखा तबला बजा रहे independently of anyone, and they were singing so well. Pangani, all our Gurdwaras are doing amazing, amazing. सारे साडे बच्चे हैं जिथे भी हैगे हुण समाज स्कूल है, विजनरी स्कूल है, ते किन्ने स्कूल है, पर सारे दा सिलेबस तो एक ही है ना, पढ़ाई सारे ट्राई कर रहे हैं. So I think unity is there. It's just maybe we need to do more Sunday programs. Post-COVID we haven't done much. We used to do a lot of that. Sorry for taking so much time.
Thank you, Mrs. Sira. Satsangji, Mrs. Sira has been instrumental in this journey over the last 11 years, and most of you know the results. Tusi bachyan nu dekhya jada kirtan Savam jo kita tusi. So, going back to that question, a lot of community leaders present here today. The question which most parents have here today, and I'm talking about parents whose children are between the age of 3 to 21 or 22. A lot of parents here. सारे दा सवाल कॉमन ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈਏ. ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਡਲ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਕੀਤਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਘਰੋਂ ਵੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਬੱਸ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਬੜੇ ਖੁਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. ਜਦੋਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਬੜੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਪਾਠ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, ਕੀਰਤਨ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ. ਪਰ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ, ਪਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਮ ਡੈਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਨਦੇ. ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵੀਕਐਂਡ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰੋ, ਬੱਚੇ ਆਏ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ. So I think there's been a generational change. Somebody talked about a generational gap. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੀਗੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ, and I think ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੀਗੀ, going to Gurdwara was mandatory. It was not ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਕਾਹਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ, ਕਿ ਕਦੋਂ ਜਾਣਾ. It was Saturday, Sunday ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰਪੁਰਬ ਤੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ. ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੋਰ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈਗੇ, ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਟਰੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ, ਅਤੇ ਸਾਇੰਟਿਸਟ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਚੈੱਕ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਬੀਇੰਗ ਦਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਨ ਹੈ, ਅਪ ਟੂ ਦੀ ਏਜ ਆਫ 8 or 9, ਇਟਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਅ ਸਪੰਜ. ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਇੰਨੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਉਹ ਐਕਿਊਮੂਲੇਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੈਬਿਟਸ ਡਿਵੈਲਪ ਕਰ. ਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਆਪਣੀ ਦੀ ਏਜ ਆਫ 8 ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੀਨਸ ਹੈਗੇ, ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਗੋ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਆਰ ਵੇ ਟੂ ਟੀਚ ਦੈਮ ਫ੍ਰੈਂਚ ਔਰ ਥਰਡ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ. ਆਪਾਂ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਸਪੋਰਟਸ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਡਾਂਸ ਕਲਾਸਿਸ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਕਈ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਦੇ. ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਯਾਰ ਇਹ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਿਓ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਠਹਿਰ ਕੇ ਕਰਨਾ. ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੱਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣਦੇ. ਸੋ ਦ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਐਜ਼ ਲੀਡਰਸ ਹੇਅਰ, Sikh Women's Society is present, RYA is there, most Gurdwaras are represented. Whilst ਆਪਾਂ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਸਕੂਲ ਚਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ, we need to have more education programs for the parents, for the mothers. Mothers ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿ fathers ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਰੋਲ ਹੈ. I think ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਰੋਲ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ things will start moving. So I think we should have more programs, and Simon has devised in that direction. Ishwin, we were running over time, so maybe we can have 2 more questions, and then why not?
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I would like to thank you, Gurveen Kaur Ji, for your one of the most beautiful Katha. I also heard you before some 3 weeks ago at Pangani Gurdwara Sahib, and we were amazed, surprised, and I would definitely say that you are truly blessed. Vaheguru Ji bless you always like that. Thank you for inspiring us and attaching to Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And I have 2 questions which I would like to ask you. First of all, fortunately, Dashmesh Pitaji blessed me, and last year Vaisakhi, Amrit Shakhi Singh Sajya, ਤੇ ਬੜੇ ਚਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੱਜਿਆ ਸੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਖਿਆ, ਬਟ ਅਨਫੋਰਚੂਨੇਟਲੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੁਝ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ, ਐਂਡ I couldn't keep the rehab as it should. I would like to honestly say My nickname has not been daily up to routine. Morning, I wake up late at times, so it misses out at times, Rehearsal Sahib misses out. So how should I apologize to Guru Sahib Ji? How should I start keeping up my rights again? And shall I have to become an Amritdari once again? Apart from nickname, I've tried my best to keep my rahat, where it's about wearing kakar, putting entire Shraddha and Bhavana in Guru Sahib Ji, listening to Bani, Kirtan. But only that nickname, especially Amritwala, has been a challenge, so how should I overcome about it? And secondly, my question will be, whereas Shraddha and Bhavana is concerned for Guru Sahib Ji, मेरी काफ़ी श्रद्धा है गुरु साहिब जी दे विच एंड always try that जिदा उन्होंने सानू नाम सिमरन एक बहुत बड़ा तोहफा बख्शिया आपां चाहे स्कूल विच होइए चाहे काम करते होन किते भी अपनी सच्ची सुच्ची कीर्त करते होइए आपां वाहिगुरू सिमरन जप सकते हाँ मैं पर ट्राई करदा यार बट मेरे कोल कदी कभार ध्यान भटक जाता है so how can we attain like always आपां गुरु साहिब जी मन विच किदां forever वसा के रख सकते हैं किदां उन्हां नूं ध्यान विच रख सकते हैं ते किदां आपां कंटिन्यू सिमरन कर सकते हैं because whenever I try something interrupts maybe I'm in college maybe exam stress comes up then I forget about simran maybe I have another personal issue which is disturbing me so I forget about it and when we come more into entertainment let's say go out for shopping go out for a movie so we totally forget about Guru Sahib Ji so वो की तरीका है कि आप परमात्मा के नाल forever जुड़े रहिए परमात्मा का नाम ते परमात्मा नूं हमेशा मन विच किवें आप वसा के रख सकते हैं ताकि आप जुड़े रहिए हाँ जी
So I'll start with the first question. We all make mistakes. महाराज आप कहते हैं भुल्लन अंदर सबको अभुल गुरु करतार कि we all make mistakes. Abul Guru Kartar. Only Guru and Kartar are the ones who don't make mistakes. And that's referring to God. So we've all made mistakes and I'm so glad that you spoke about it because there's many of us with the same challenges but we don't speak about it. We need to encourage each other to speak about it because then we can help each other. So if you've made mistakes that consist of the job budget kurata or anything that you feel that you want to go back to your Guru for, Pesh is always an option. You can always go back to an Amrit Sanchar, get rid of the car and take Amrit again. If you feel like that's a step you're not ready to take because you've done it before, just work on yourself. Amrit Vela is an issue. It is for most of us, myself included. Don't pressurize yourself too much. Don't let that guilt eat you up. If you can't wake up 4, 5, 6, try a bit later. But what you want to have in your mind is, okay, I'm going to do my part. I don't care what time it is. If I can't make it very early in the morning, I'm going to do it when I wake up. If I can't, I'm going to do it with my Reva Sahib. Reva Sahib pakka karna hi karna. If not, I'll do it before my Kirtan Swalla, before I go to sleep. Before you end your day, you've done your Satabaniya, you're fine. We don't have to put that pressure and that guilt that it has to be Amrit Vela. Amrit Vela is prescribed to us because it's the best time. But personally, I know how difficult it is, and I know the things that can come in the way. Just push the time, but make sure you do it. If you can't do all your Vaniya, start slowly. Because now you've had a taster, you took Amrit, you know how it works, now build up to it. You can't do Panch Vaniya, start with 3, start with 1. Maybe listen to them, but I would encourage reading them more than listening. Just start slowly, take those baby steps. If you can't do your Panjabaniya Amrit Vela, try to wake up for Amrit Vela and just do your Simran. Just do Vaheguru Mantra. 5 minutes. Maharaj hasn't given us a time limit. They haven't said you have to do these many hours. Maharaj says 5 minutes is more enough. Ek kari, aadhi hute aad. If you use half, like, a very minimal amount, if we start there, Maharaj is going to be pleased with us. It's all about what you can do, but as I said, there is the option of going back to take Amrit, but do it at your own pace because you don't want to feel that guilt again. And then work on your Vaniya, your Amrit Vela. Start with Simran, push your Vaniya to a later time, as long as you get it done.
Don't beat yourself up too much, but don't be too lenient. There's a fine balance. Try and make sure you do your part within the day before you go to sleep, and then the next day, just keep trying. That's all that Maharaj wants to see from us, that we're just trying. Same thing with your kafar, your that, with everything. Now that you know how it works, just put in that effort and just try your best. And then as and when, if you feel like you want to take Amrit again, that's entirely up to you. There's no rush. It's not like you have to go pay tomorrow or anything. Just take your time and do what feels right for you. I hope that answers your first question. Second question, how do we remember Paramatma at all times? Okay, so when you came for the last Katha, I said, Haath pav kar kaam sab jeet niranjan naal. That we have to use our hands and feet to do all the work that we do, go to uni, do your job, eat your meals, everything. Jeet niranjan naal. Your chitta, your consciousness should be attached to Niranjan. Niranjan being involved with Vaheguru. Easier said than done, I do agree. Simran is not limited to Vaheguru Mantra. Simran is not limited to saying Vaheguru, to jumping Naam. That is not what Simran is limited to. Simran is the remembrance of that one. Remembrance in terms of gratitude. If in your day, let's say on an hourly basis, you can take out a minute to be grateful for something, you've remembered Maharaj Paramatma. If you can do it in half an hour, 10 minutes, every minute, you can find something to be grateful for, you're doing Simran of your Guru. It doesn't have to be on a physical sense of sitting down and saying Satnam Vaheguru. Just being grateful is Simran in itself. When you're going to eat your food, you're grateful for that meal, you've remembered Maharaj. That's one. Anything you're going to do, you're going to have a shower, you're grateful that your body is functional, you've remembered your Guru. Literally anything, you're grateful for your job, you're grateful for your clothes, you're grateful for the education you're getting. The coursework is hard, it's stressful, but you're grateful you got this opportunity, you've got the intellect to do it. Being grateful, that gratitude, there's a whole Ashtapadi in Sukhmani Sahib, Jai Prasad, that's like a gratitude journal. These days, these Western concepts have come in of journaling and gratitude. Maharaj gave it to us ages ago. And if we don't know what to be grateful for, they tell us. Jai Prasad Chatti Amrit Khava, the food that we get. Sugandha Lava, the perfumes we put on our body. Maharaj is saying be grateful for everything. And the more grateful you are, the more connected you are to your Guru. In terms of traditionally doing Simran, when you sit down or when you're doing it, you're always going to have thoughts, because as I mentioned, your mind is juncture. The idea is not to suppress the thoughts, that's never the idea. It's to rise above the thoughts. The thoughts will always circulate, whether you're doing your work or you're sitting down in a meditative pose with an intent to meditate. Your thoughts will always exist. You have to rise above your thoughts by using your vocals. Try and listen to Vaheguru Simran. You're going to have your thoughts, but your thoughts consist of your sankalp and your vikalp. Your sankalp is your initial thought. Let's say the thought is, I'm hungry. Your vikalp is your follow-up thought of, oh, what should I eat? A pizza or a burger? And from there, it goes off on a tangent. If you stick to your sankalp, you've had one thought, I'm hungry. Recognize the thought, okay, I'm hungry, and then just say, I'll deal with you later. Like a cloud passes, let the thought pass as well. The second thought will come within the next second because it doesn't take time. Oh, my legs hurt. Let it go. Don't build on it. Don't allow your brain that opportunity to say, oh, my legs hurt. What do I do? Do I change position? Do I get up? Do I stop? Don't go down that road because it gets messy. And that's how you can do that Simran even with all the thoughts. Just rise above them, don't suppress them. That was okay.
If there's any other question, you come.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. On the question, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਏਕਤਾ ਦਾ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਤਜਰਬੇ ਨੇ, ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਐਂਸਿਸ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਦੇ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਣਾ। ਆਈ ਫੀਲ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਪੰਥ ਸਜਾਇਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੜ ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਹਿਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈਏ, ਇੱਕ ਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈਏ, ਇੱਕ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੰਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈਏ, ਇੱਕ ਨਿਸ਼ਾਨ। ਇਹ ਸ਼ਰਤ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਮਰਨ ਕਬੂਲ, ਜੀਵਨ ਕੀ ਛੱਡ ਆਸ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਏਕਤਾ ਐਵੇਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣੀ। ਏਕਤਾ ਆਏਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਰਹਿਤ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਵਰਗੇ ਹੀ ਬਣਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ। ਫਿਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਅੱਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੀਡ ਕਰੇਗਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੁਰੇਗਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸੁਣਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਫੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੋਚ ਹੈ, ਇਸੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਖਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ। ਅਰਦਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਖੁਆਰ ਹੋਏ ਸਭ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਖੁਆਰ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ, ਬਿਖਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੀ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ। ਦੇਰ ਇਜ਼ ਨੋ ਅਦਰ ਵੇ। ਪਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਜ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਖੁਆਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਗਲਤੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੁੱਖ ਮੋੜਿਆ। ਸੋ ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਬੜਾ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਿਲ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਬੜੇ ਸੌਖੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ। ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋਹੇ ਦੇ ਚਣੇ ਚਬਾਣੇ ਹੀ ਪੈਣੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਰਹਿਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣਾ ਹੀ ਪੈਣਾ, ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਰਹਾਂਗੇ। ਖਾਲਸਾ ਰਹਿਤ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਅਕਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਦੀ ਹੈ। ਖਾਲਸਾ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਦੀ ਫੌਜ। ਅਸੀਂ ਫੌਜ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦਾ ਟਾਕਰਾ ਕਰਨਾ, ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਤੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਡਾ ਸੁਝਾਅ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਮਸਲੇ ਦਾ, ਏਕਤਾ ਦਾ। ਇਹ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਹੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਤੱਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਰਹਿਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਆਈਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Thank you, Gurveen Singh Khalsa ji. I think ਤੁਹਾਡੇ comments pretty much solidify the message which Bibi Gurveen ji started off with. ਕਿ ਗੱਲ ਸਾਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਰਹਿਤ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆਬਜੈਕਟਿਵਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੇ ਡਾਊਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਰਿਆਦਾ ਫੋਲੋ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰੀਏ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਉੱਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਚੱਲਣ ਨੂੰ, ਫਿਰ ਏਕਤਾ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਸੋ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਮਚ ਫॉर ਰੀਇਨਫੋਰਸਿੰਗ what was said earlier. ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੀਜ਼ੇ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ earlier on, ਤੇ ਪੀਜ਼ੇ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਚੱਲੇ। ਸੋ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਇਜ਼ ਅਗੇਂਸਟ ਅਸ, ਬਟ ਸਰਟਨਲੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ once again ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸਮੂਹ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਕਥਾ ਸਰਵਣ ਕੀਤੀ। ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਕਿ ਇਨ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਦੂਸਰੀਆਂ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ more interactive seminars ਰੱਖਣ, especially with the parents and children present. So with these few words ਅਸੀਂ now request ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ trustees ਸਾਡੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਹੋਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸਵਰਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਦਰਿਆਲ, ਸਰਦਾਰ ਕਿਰਪਾਲ ਸਿੰਘ ਚਾਨਾ, ਸਰਦਾਰ ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਿਰਦੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਹੈਡਮਿਸਟਰੈਸ ਮਿਸਿਸ ਮੋਹਿੰਦਰ ਕੌਸੀਰਾ, ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਜੀ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਦੂਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਪਨੇਸਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੀ ਨੋਟ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਨਮਾਨ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Before ending the event, may we please have Ashwin Kaur, a Gurmat School alumni, to come and give the vote of thanks.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੀਬੀ ਗੁਰਵੀਨ ਕੌਰ ਦੀ ਕਥਾ ਸੁਣਨ ਲਈ ਇੱਥੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਦਾ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਿਹਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਆ। On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to several key individuals. Our trustees, whose steadfast commitment has been the cornerstone of our success. Sardar Gamdur Singh Panesar, OGW, Chairman of Shri Gurudwara Ramgarhia Railway, for his invaluable support and leadership. Sardar Kuldeep Singh Diogan, the first Vice Chairman of SGRR, for his determined dedication. Sardar Sukhwinder Singh Saggu, the second Vice Chairman of SGRR, whose seva knows no bounds. Sardar Jaswinder Singh Karyal, the Chairman of Gurmat School, whose dedication have been instrumental. Sardar Mohinder Kaur Sira, the Principal of Gurmat School, for her unwavering support and guidance. Sardar Niswinder Kaur Bhavra, the Chairwoman of Istri Sabha, whose encouragement has been a beacon of inspiration. And Sardar Tajinder Singh Gatore, the Chairman of SGRR Youth, for his dedication to nurturing the next generation. We are also thankful to the dignitaries from the various Gurdwaras and Sikh institutions and the Sadh Sangat for being here with us tonight. Our heartfelt appreciation extends to Mrs. Davinder Kaur Karyal, the head of Kirtan department, for preparing such a beautiful opening performance with the assistance of the Gurmat School teachers. Our heartfelt gratitude to the panel who knowledgeably answered all questions that were asked. We extend our gratitude to the Langar Sevadars for their efforts in preparing the Langar that we will enjoy shortly. We would also like to thank Jaggi Virdi, who has been handling the sound system for the various Gurdwara events for the past 15 years. I would like to thank everyone present for your participation and making this event a resounding success. Finally, I would like to extend my appreciation to the hard-working organizers who ensured the successful execution of this program. I would like to give a special recognition to my namesake, Ishwin Kaur Matharu, the convener of the event, who provided continuous support to her team, and Parneet Kaur Saggu, the master of ceremonies of this event, for her dedicated devotedness. This was a very invigorating session, followed by a mind-blowing question and answer session as well. We should have more of these sessions, and we would like to urge Bibi Gurveen Kaur to advise us further on how we can promote this and see this vision come to life. We would like to request our head teacher and chairman to incorporate a department or a research facility in the Gurdwara so that we can have our own scholars as well. I would now like to request the entire organizing team, together with Sardar Gamdur Singh Panesar, Sardar Kuldeep Singh Diogan, Sardar Sukhwinder Singh Saggu, Sardar Jaswinder Singh Karyal, Sardar Mohinder Kaur Sira, Sardar Sarabjit Kaur Chase, and Bibi Gurveen Kaur Ji to kindly come up on stage for a group picture.
I would like to call the organizing committee to please come on stage. Raj. And a request to Mrs. Sylvia Korbaka to join us. Sally Redpipal, I request you to come as well as Sunita.
Mr. Gurveen Singh Khalsa is also requested to come. Please join us. Manmeet Singh Khalsa. Mr. Tejinder Singh Katori, a kind request to you to please join us.
Once again, I thank you all for your participation. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Ashwin Kaur for delivering a heart. Thank you, Ashwin Kaur for delivering a heartfelt vote of thanks. I would like to call the GPA students onto the stage. I would also like to inform you that on 10th October, we'll have a Kirtan Diwan by Raki Jatha by Bahadur Singh Ji, Delhi Wale, from 10:30 am to 12:30 pm. As we come to the end of this event, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to everyone for your presence and participation. We invite you all to join Langar at Mata Khiviji Hall. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.